Hey everyone, it's Sam. Today we're going to talk about getting Next.js set up with Hetzner and Kamal, and I can show you that you can use any Dockerized application with Kamal to deploy, and you can use Hetzner, AWS, whatever you want. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's just create a new Next.js app. So we just use the built-in tool that they have. I'm just going to call it Sam host Next.js. Oh no, sure. I'm just doing all the, recommended ones. I'm not really super familiar with Next.js, so I can't say exactly what the right answers are for those. So, but I'm sure if you know Next.js, you would know the answer better than me. All right, so let's do Sam host Next.js, and let's make sure it's running. I believe is npm run dev, and let's see here. Compiling. Okay, it's working. So, all right, so let's just go into here and just make sure we know that it's working correctly. Page, I guess. Just delete everything faster. And let's just say it's working. All right, so we know this is working correctly. That's great. Okay, so what do we need to run Kamal? We need a Docker file. Okay, so this doesn't come with a Docker file. So we'll add one. And then let's just open it up and we can go to the Next.js docs. This is just Next.js deploy, building your application, deploying. So they have a self-hosting option here, and they have a Docker container. And so they have a example Docker file, which I've already looked at and needs a little bit of tweaking to work correctly. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to copy this. This is the one that they use, and it gets us most of the way there. First of all, I don't like using Alpine for any sort of production environment. I don't think that like having a small image is worth the trade-offs. Having a small image is sort of like an overrated thing. I don't understand like why people care about it. Unless you want to deploy in like 5 seconds or whatever, which is not really ever super necessary. So I have this, I already did this. Let me just find it. Simple host, Next.js. I'll show you the things that are different. So basically, like the first thing we want to do is, I don't need to worry about this stuff because this is all about Alpine crap. So we have the work directory set up to /app. That's fine. We're not using yarn, so we can just use package.json and package.lock.json, and we'll just copy them to the directory. We're in the app, so it'll just go to app, and then all we need to do is run npm CI to get everything installed. And then, we copy over the dependencies, the node modules. I do not want you to send anonymous data about my deployments to your servers, so I get rid of that. Then we need to run the build to build the server and to build all the Next.js components, and we'll have to modify one other thing actually. That'll show you in a second. So then we copy everything over. Again, we want to make sure that I personally want to make sure that this isn't sending data to Next.js, which to me is a weird thing to do. So we have all this set up, and we got the next.next. directory, I believe, I'm not an expert on this, but I believe when Next.js builds everything, they create like a standalone directory where all the static stuff is served out of, which is this portion here. And then this all this is doing is setting up the user and stuff, so nothing crazy. But what we do need to do is, to get this to work, is to handle the configuration here, which is this. To use the standalone portion of this, we need to just change this to have this output, which basically you can read up on this in their docs, but allows you to use the standalone directory to serve assets out of, which is good for Docker. Okay, so this should be working. This should be the Docker file that you need. And then let's just test this. So let's do Docker build. This load is because I'm using the build kit for Docker. I'll probably speed this up in the video because it takes a while to run npm stuff, but we're gonna install this just to make sure the Docker file runs, and then we'll set up Kamal. Okay, the Docker finished building, and it's called test, the Docker file. So let's just do run test with port 3000, and it should be running on localhost 3000, which is great. And so we should be able to see it, and it's running right there. So the Docker file runs correctly and serves everything correctly, which is great. So what's next? What's next is we want to set up the Kamal deploy. So Kamal init, which creates the config deploy file, which we're familiar with now from the other videos. And again, I'm going to copy over something that I already made to make this a little bit faster. And let's see here. So I was testing this called self-host, but let's call it what we're using now, which is sam-host. And so what I'm going to do actually is reuse one of the servers I've already been using. So that's something that's great about Kamal and traffic specifically, is that based on the host header, as you can see here, based on the host header, you can route traffic on the same server to different applications. So you can reuse the same servers over and over again, especially if you have small projects and you want to like deploy things quickly. You can have one server that you own and then deploy new projects to that. And then if it gets bigger, you can just migrate it to its own server or some other host if you want. So I'm going to host this on just a subdomain on the Simplehost website. We'll call this, I had it Next.js, let's just call it, let's call this Next.js Sam or something. And this is my host, obviously. And then, and this is all the same as we saw before with the Rails setup, which is you get the HTTPS connection, you're publishing 443. The only thing different here is I'm using my AWS account to host the registry because I like Elastic Container Registries, works well. I don't really use Docker Hub, and I already use AWS for a bunch of other stuff. So this is an easy way to do that. A nice side note is this YAML file, you can use ERB. So that means that you can use Ruby inside of it. So all this does is get the URL from my account ID, and then gets like the login password to ECR, which is great. And I guess I'll show you quickly how to set up this image in ECR, since we haven't shown that before. So let's look at that now. So this is the AWS account. This is just ECR. You can type in ECR here, Elastic Container Registry. It's pretty easy to set up a new private repo. This is just the tag image name that you want. We're calling ours Sam host Next.js. And so we have that. You have the name here, which includes the your account ID. And so this is going to be the URL that you use in your deploy. And then just create the repository. You can add the security settings or whatever if you want, but it's already created, and then you can use it now. So there's really not much you need to do here. So let's go back to this. So now that everything's set up with the service, we should be able to deploy actually. Okay, so everything got deployed successfully. Actually, we had to run env push, which I completely forgot about, but you had to run env push and then Kamal deploy. And so, but everything is running correctly now. So all we need to do to see this in production is create this DNS record, this subdomain DNS record for 578.88.85, Nextjs Sam. So let's copy this. And then we'll go to Cloudflare. And then we're going to go to the domains, so simple host, and click the DNS records. And let's add a record. We're going to call it Next.js Sam, right? Next.js Sam. And we're sending it to there. Save. We want it proxied, yes. And then all we have to do is type this in. Let's see if it's working. Simple host.net. Forward, I found it. Okay, so there was an error with it was getting a 404 when we were running. Now it's fixed, and let's just show you what I did to fix it. The reason was because the traffic routers were getting messed up a little bit, so I had to rename them from just simple host to sam-simple host, and then I also had to make sure to restart traffic, which you can just do with Kamal traffic reboot. And so this will restart your traffic instance. So be careful. If you have a lot of traffic, it's possible that some connections could be dropped during this reboot, but it only takes a few seconds. And as you can see, it's working. So we have hello Next.js at this website. So as you can see, it's not so much different than getting the Rails set up. Kamal works equally as well with Docker and with any sort of Dockerized application, Node, Rails, Python, anything that you need to run. And it's pretty flexible. There are some rough edges around, making sure you run the commands in the right order, which I don't always get right, which to me I think means that adding a little bit of extra automation to it, like adding a deploy script that always runs env push and the deploy command, can be really helpful, and I have that in some of my projects as well. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.